Hello, Jacksonites, and welcome. I held up on my promise. I was going to have another video out tonight. So, since I have suffered through the abortion that the botched abortion that is Gamera Super Monster, I think it's only fitting that we rectify that wrong with a far superior film. A film that is part of a franchise that was practically raped to death and managed to rise from the ashes, slaughter its rapists, cut their heads off, piss down their throats, and go on to live a happy life. Sort of, since that person is now missing. But whatever. Today I will be reviewing the first of the Heisei Gamera trilogy, directed by Shizuke Kaneko, with, of course, 1995's Gamera Guardian of the Universe. And joining me today is fellow kaiju YouTuber JTISREBORN, aka Sean. Say hello, Shawnee boy.
Hello, everybody. Guess what? Daddy's back. Oh boy, I'm looking forward to it. What was the last one I was on, Nick? Was that?
I think it was Final Wars.
Has that been like a month?
I think almost 2 months.
It's definitely been a while. Oh God, it has been a while. Time flies by when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, well, kind of.
Oh, yeah,
so yes, indeed, Gamera Guardian of the Universe. A film that I have actually been labeled as being very infamous for regarding my opinions on it because, well, actually, no. I should probably get into my personal history with Guardian of the Universe before I talk about that. But Shawnee boy, what is your history with Guardian of the Universe?
Well, my history with Guardian of the Universe goes back to when I think a few years ago, and I was doing. I don't exactly remember when I first saw this movie, but my history with Gamera goes like this. I love Godzilla. I heard of Gamera. I bought this set at this now defunct media store. I think it was called Media Play or something. And it had this set. It was like those public domain releases of a lot of the Gamera movies. And it's over 13 hours, a giant monster film. And that's my first exposure to Gamera movies. I like the first Gamera movie, but then there's a lot of those sequels. The quality of those DVDs were so shitty, and they weren't really fun watches. I was like, oh man, I love Godzilla, but what is this crap? But then I got curious because I heard when I was doing my 30 days of Godzilla thing a few years ago, everyone was telling me you should do the Gamera movies. You should do the Gamera movies. You should do the Gamera movies. I'm like, yeah, maybe. Then I got curious and I heard good things about this trilogy, and I liked. I know you don't like GMK. We talked about this, but oh yeah, go ahead, flip it off. I know where you can stick that finger. Stick them both. But yeah, so I heard about this trilogy. I bought them on Amazon. I watched all three of them, and I had a good time. It's been a while since I watched them. I rewatched this one, obviously, for this video. I'm, the process of rewatching 2 for when we cover 2, and then I'll have to rewatch 3. But my history was, got the Blu-ray a few years ago, put it in, watched the movies. That exact same Blu-ray. And then I bought the DVD set, which doesn't even include Gamera the Brave. That's the shittiest part. So, but that's my brief little history on the movie.
So my history with Gamera Guardian of the Universe. Actually, I may as well get my history with the Gamera Heisei trilogy out of the way. So, growing up, I was trying to get into Gamera, and I realized, kind of how rare the Gamera movies were for a while. But it wasn't until I started using Amazon a lot more when I saw that there was the Gamera Heisei Blu-ray set. Now, at that point, of course, reading the plots for the Heisei Gamera trilogy, I was very intrigued by these movies because they seemed like really unique, really one-of-a-kind type kaiju films, and they really had me intrigued. But the fact that they were, for a long time, they were a Blu-ray exclusive scared me off because for a long time, I hated Blu-rays. I didn't like that. I kind of felt like they were making DVDs obsolete.
You're an HD DVD guy. Let's be real.
I like my DVDs, damn it.
No, I like DVDs too. Like it took a while to get used to Blu-ray. Now, like I have like everything adapted to Blu-ray. Now it's 4K Blu-rays and 3D Blu-ray. Well, 3D is kind of going out the window.
Yes,
the 3D
thank
craze
God.
was like 8 years ago when Avatar came out, or 9 years ago, I should say. God damn, it's been 9 years. It was like 2009 to 2010 to 11. It was that crappy post-converted 3D phase. Like Clash of the Titans in 3D. That 3D was awful. But yeah, it was like that crazy phase. But yeah, like Blu-ray discs were like, they started to become big like 2007, 2008. I don't know what the first Blu-ray I ever bought, believe it or not, was the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, because it came with a DVD copy. That's the first one I bought on my own. And now obviously I have hundreds of Blu-rays, and I love the quality of Blu-ray, but the problem with Blu-ray I have is like, it's tough to find any portable Blu-ray players anywhere. DVD, no problem. Or if I'm recording a review, like I can get the footage easily through DVD, but like Blu-ray, I have to have like a separate adapter to hook it up to my computer, and I haven't bought that yet, and it's just a nightmare. Like I said, I love the quality of Blu-rays, but like I do hate, like you said, how DVDs became kind of obsolete.
Well, not so much. I mean, people still do use DVDs, and myself included. But I do appreciate Blu-ray. I appreciate Blu-rays nowadays. There are some movies that, because they were on Blu-ray, that I like them as much as I do. Like The Shallows, better than Jaws. Hashtag.
Fuck that. No.
But
Shallows is
this trilogy of movies were actually the first Blu-ray I ever bought. I finally cracked and I said, okay, fuck it. I really want to see these movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought the Blu-ray set, and I borrowed my aunt's PS3, because another reason why I didn't get the Blu-rays for so long was because I thought that Blu-ray players were just so goddamn expensive, and I just had no way of seeing movies on Blu-ray.
Yep. Now I have a ridiculous amount of Blu-ray players. Blu-ray players are so cheap now.
Oh, yeah. I got mine for free, so that's even better.
Yeah, I had a PS3. That was my Blu-ray player.
Yeah, that's not. So yeah, I borrowed my aunt's PS3, and I was finally able to sit down and watch the Heisei Gamera trilogy. Actually, I lied earlier. That was the only time I ever watched the Heisei Gamera trilogy in full, one after the other, in one day. Haven't done it since. And to be 100% honest, I was let down.
Yeah, sometimes when people hype things up.
I wanted to see these movies so goddamn badly, and I'd seen reviews for these movies, and I was really, really, really intrigued. But, oh my God, especially with 1 and 3, especially 3, I was let down so badly. It was almost heartbreaking. And that sounds kind of bitch made, but it really was almost heartbreaking how much of these movies let me down. Well, not so much 2, because I really like 2. Obviously, if you've seen my top 20 favorite kaiju films, I love 2. But yeah, Guardian of the Universe and Revenge of Iris really, really let me down. And then as years went by, I actually did end up giving this away to my ex's mom, because she was a big Gamera fan. And I said, hey, the main reason why I gave them away was because I also bought the Gamera Legacy Collection. And I figured, well, I may as well get rid of this. I don't like to own 2 copies of one movie. So I gave this to my ex's mom because I knew she was a big Gamera fan. She said, here, I know you're a big Gamera fan. And when I got the Gamera Legacy Collection, I decided to rewatch the Heisei Gamera trilogy. And once again, aside from 2, I was just really let down. Especially with Guardian. Actually, at the time, Guardian was my least favorite. And that is what leads me into a big subject that I want to discuss regarding Guardian of the Universe. For the longest time, I consider Guardian of the Universe to be one of my least favorite kaiju movies of all time. I think it's I I think it's one of the most overrated kaiju movies ever made. I still do. I still do think it is highly overrated. It's almost as overrated as War of the Gargantuas. Shut up, Sean. I know you like that movie.
I love that movie.
I
And you know
don't.
what? If you don't like, here's the thing, Nick. If you like a movie or dislike a movie, it's fine. Film is subjective. Why would I get mad if somebody likes or dislikes a movie? Like, there's no point in it. Like, oh my god, how dare you have an opinion of your own? Like when I was younger, I'm like, I guess I could have gotten riled up, and now I'm like, who the fuck cares? It's all subjective. There's no right or wrong.
Tell that to the people who have called me not a true kaiju fan, which I hate that statement with a burning passion.
How can you not be a kaiju? You know how many fucking kaiju movies you bought, paid for, all this stuff? I'm like, if you weren't a fan, why would you spend all this money on kaiju stuff? Why would you spend all this time watching? Why would you spend all this time going back and forth over and over on these movies just because you don't like some that some people like?
Yeah. So with Guardian of the Universe, for the longest time, it was a movie that I just really did not like. I thought it was highly overrated. I just did not enjoy the movie. I could not understand the hype. I could not understand why the fan base loves it so much. And I hated the film for a long, 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 long time. And my opinion on the film has somewhat changed in the last year or so, because I have rewatched the movie a couple times. It really started to change when I did my first review for Guardian. Terrible, really short 3-part review. That was when my phone was conking out. That was when my opinion on the movie really started to change. And I found myself enjoying the movie a lot more when I finally initially got over my distaste for the film, and I tried to give the movie another chance. And upon this most recent rewatching, I did find myself enjoying the movie quite a lot more than in the past. And now I can officially say that Gamera Guardian of the Universe is no longer one of my least favorite kaiju films. And it is also no longer one of I still do think it's extremely overrated. And it is no longer it's still not one of my favorite kaiju movies.
Yeah, it's not one of mine either. I still like the movie. I mean,
I appreciate the movie. It's not one of my favorites, but it's not even one of my favorite Gamera movies either. Though I do think it is one of the best, certainly objectively. And that being said, let me say something about this. Gamera Guardian of the Universe is an amazing reboot. Well, especially when you compare it to, like I said, the botched abortion that is Super Monster. For a franchise to come back with the bang this after Super Monster, I give the movie massive props. Guardian of the Universe is an excellent, 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 excellent reboot. One of the best, if not probably one of the top 5 greatest reboots ever made. So what is your initial thoughts of Guardian of the Universe?
Guardian of the Universe was one, like I said, I watched it a few years ago, watched the whole trilogy. I have to go back and watch, parts 2 and 3 again before we talk about the next ones. But I heard the hype around it, and I was just like, there's no way this can live up to it. And I was kind of like you in the sense of really, this is all that people are hyping up about. But as I saw the movie more, I've watched it a few times over the years. I liked it. I definitely don't like the movie. I don't think it's this epic masterpiece of a movie. I do think they do kind of get better with each subsequent film. But I just like the movie. I don't love it. I like it. I haven't watched all the Gamera movies. I own the set, but I need to sit down and watch all of them.
Yes, you do, and you need to review them.
I know. Like I said, when I finish my Halloween reviews, my Batman the Animated Series review, and my Godzilla's Revenge video that's going to be coming up. The next thing I really want to do is something called Toho Tuesdays, where every Tuesday talk like a Toho kaiju film, going from G54 all the way to Shin Godzilla. Although, like, the ones that, like the Shin Godzilla review, I'll just re-upload kind of like that, just like maybe with an intro or something. And then maybe after that, I'll do Gamera. But like I said, that's down the road. That's like, I don't have time to work on that whole, like, that's like 50 movies or something like that. That's just insane. But yeah, Gamera Guardian of the Universe, definitely a solid thing for reboot for Gamera, like you said. Gamera is badass. Like, the design looks pretty good. Although I think Gamera 3 has the best looking design by far.
I think 2 has the best.
2 has a pretty good design, but I think 3 just looks perfect in 3.
I actually don't care for the design in 3. It suffers from Koichi Kawakita syndrome, where the designers were focused more on cosmetics than practicality.
I get what you mean.
But I'll get when I get to Gamera 3. But so with all that being said, let's get on to the plot of Gamera Guardian of the Universe.
Let's zip through this bad boy.
Yep. So the movie begins with a ship that's carrying 1 ton of plutonium, which I'm pretty sure is against Japanese law, but whatever. It collides with a floating.
That's who Doc Brown stole it from.
It collides with a floating atoll off of the eastern coast of the Philippines, and which is one of many incidents occurring throughout that area. And as the anomalous fortune approaches Japan, seemingly moving on its own against the ocean current, a team of scientists led by Naoya Kusanagi, played by Akira Onodera, discover Orihelium amulets, which are essentially like comma-shaped beads. They're about this big, and a stone slab covered in Etrurian runes on the atoll. And during the investigation, the atoll suddenly starts to quake, which destroys the slab in the process and throws all the scientists in the ocean. And one member of this team, Marine Officer Yoshinari Yonemori, played by Tsuyoshi Ihara, sees the eye and tusk of a giant turtle, this of course being Gamera. And meanwhile, ornithologist Mayumi Nagamine, played by Shinobu Nakayama, investigates a village in the Goto archipelago reportedly attacked by what they call a giant bird. And meanwhile, Nagamine is initially skeptical of the claims. She is horrified upon discovering human remains in one big pile of shit. This, of course, being a giant white, goopy, syrupy, looks like melting white ice cream bird shit pellet.
Yeah, it looks like a giant pile of cum. And I ruined that scene forever.
Thank you. First Jeff ruins Boyka, and then you ruin Guardian of the Universe.
First who ruined what?
First Jeff ruins Undisputed 3.
I never watched that.
With his, fuck me, Boyka. Oh,
God. Man, at least I didn't say that's a lot of fish.
You just did.
I just said it.
Fucking asshole.
That's right.
So anyway,
I want Totopolis to come back in the comments section. That dude's my favorite, or girl. I don't know who it is.
So exploring the nearby forest on the island, Nagamine's team encounters and prevents 3 bird-like reptilian monsters from attacking another village. And to prevent further attacks, Nagamine agrees to aid the Japanese government, which it's at this point where the movie gives me a big Shin Gojira vibe. She agrees to aid the government in capturing the giant birds. The creatures are lured to the Fukuoka baseball stadium, where 2 of the 3, they're the Gauss. They're Gausses. 2 of the 3 Gauss are successfully captured. However, the last one escapes to the harbor, where it is killed by Gamera, who erupts out of the water and kills it with one big hard bitch slap. And the remaining birds escape before Gamera reaches the stadium, using their sonic beams to cut their ways out of a cage that they've been placed into. And after translating the runes seen on the stone slab, Kusanagi explains to Yonemori and his daughter Asagi, played by Akayo Fujitani, who I actually have to look something up real quick.
Go right ahead. Look it up.
Yep. This is Steven Seagal's daughter.
Who's Steven Seagal's daughter?
The female who plays Ayana. Or not Ayana, excuse me, Asagi. That's 3, but yeah. The actress who plays Asagi in the Heisei Gamera trilogy is the daughter of Steven Seagal.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How did you even know that?
I looked it up. And also I watched Decker Shadow's review of Gamera Guardian of the Universe, and I think he said he can't believe that this actress is the daughter of Steven Seagal because he did his Summer of Steven Seagal special. So Steven Seagal's kind of got is on his shit list.
That just
blows your mind.
Wow. Steven Seagal, I guess, yeah. I'm not the biggest Seagal fan. I'm just going to tell you straight.
I'm not as big a fan of Seagal as I used to be. There's some of his movies I still like, but
Under Siege is pretty good.
I love Under Siege. I think that's one of his best. But yeah, Seagal's daughter is in this movie.
Got lazy.
Yeah, he did.
Steven Seagal.
He's gained like 100 pounds.
Yeah,
not that much, but
he doesn't try anymore.
Whatever.
My favorite Seagal role is an executive decision because he dies in the first 20 minutes.
I have not seen that, but anyway. So after translating the runes, Kusanagi explains to Yonemori and his daughter Asagi that the giant turtle is, of course, named Gamera and that the giant birds are named Gauss. And when Asagi touches one of the stone amulets, she inadvertently ends up forming a spiritual bond with Gamera. Kusanagi also tries to convince the government that the Gauss are the real threat. However, they decide to remain focused on Gamera due to the collateral damage that he caused when killing the first Gauss. And now working together to investigate the creatures, Kusanagi, Yonemori, and Nagamine witness another Gauss attack at the Kiso mountain range. Nagamine and Yonemori are almost killed when they're trying to rescue a child. However, Gamera arrives just in time to save them and kills another Gauss, blowing it the fuck up with one of his fireballs. The last Gauss escapes in the process, however, and Asagi then discovers that she suffers the same wounds and fatigue as Gamera does due to their shared bond. Gamera gets a small cut on the side of his face. Asagi also ends up getting this cut. When Gauss fires its sonic ray, Gamera blocks the beam with one of his hands, and her hand gets all cut up. And when he enters his, or actually no, I'll talk about that in a sec. And at Mount Fuji, Asagi ends up witnessing a military strike against Gamera using horrendous CGI to showcase missiles. And the attack attracts the final Gauss to the scene, where it ends up grievously wounding Gamera and forces him to retreat back into the ocean. And simultaneously, of course, Asagi suffers a similar wound and passes out from the intense pain. Kusanagi then visits his daughter at the hospital, where Asagi falls into a Gamera healing coma, saying that she and Gamera must rest, just like Gamera healing his wounds at the bottom of the ocean. So after consulting with a biologist, Nagamine and Yonemori learn that the Gauss are actually genetically engineered and they reproduce asexually, which actually is one thing I do like about...
reproduces asexually.
Shut up.
Where's the fun in that?
Yes, but let's not start talking about fishy dialogue, please. And they then proceed to speculate on the origins and purpose of Gauss and Gamera. And Nagamine suggests that the Gauss were awakened by rampant pollution and Gamera was created to combat the Gauss. And they approach Kusanagi with this information, explaining that the incident at Mount Fuji shows that Asagi really is spiritually linked with Gamera. However, Kusanagi stupidly dismisses these claims until he witnesses the amulet's power himself. That sure made you shut the fuck up. So with Gamera recovering in the ocean, the last Gauss grows unchecked, which evolves into a Hyper Gauss, uttering the classic Showa Gauss roar for the first time in the film. The creature then attacks Tokyo, causing many civilian casualties, and prompts the JSDF to focus on Gauss instead of Gamera, like he should have in the first place, you fucking idiots. And attempts to kill Gauss end in failure, and it starts to build a nest in the ruins of the Tokyo Tower. And upon awakening from her sleep, Gamera warns the others, or not Gamera, excuse me, Asagi warns the others that Gamera has recovered from his wounds and will show up to attack Gauss. Gamera catches Gauss by surprise and ends up destroying its nest and eggs with one blast of his fireball. And a massive air battle ensues, and Asagi, Kusanagi, Nagamine, and Yonomori follow the battle closely in a chopper. And initially, Gauss ends up overpowering Gamera, of course, but Asagi uses her spiritual energy to revive Gamera, who kills Gauss with one massive, what I like to call a supernova fireball. Gamera then releases Asagi from their bond and then proceeds to return to the sea, thus ending the movie and leading into the next movie. So how about this story, Sean?
Yeah, it's a good solid reboot. You know, plot flows pretty well for like this type of movie. Doesn't drag too long. It's only like an hour and a half. It's not. That's
like actually one problem that I have with this movie.
Like that. You think it's too short?
We'll see.
Okay. Well, I think the length is fine. Just over an hour and a half. Story moves along pretty simple. It's not that tough to follow or anything like that. Trying to think what else I can add. Do you want to get into the pros and cons?
Real quick. So my thoughts on this story, it's good. It's a very well done, very well executed reboot. It has some callbacks to the Showa series, of course, because I'm sure Shizuka Kaneko grew up watching the Showa Gamera movie, so of course he wanted to add in a few nods to the Showa series, which is fine. But this is how you do a reboot and do it well, in my eyes. So let's get into the pros and cons of Gamera Guardian of the Universe. So, Sean, you can go first with your pros.
All right, I'll go with my pros. So, like, this first one here is both a pro and a con to the movie. I'm going to say pro number one, the special effects. Because there are some good ones and there are some definitely dated ones in this movie.
Leave the bad ones for the cons, because I have some bad special effects that I want to talk about when I get to the cons.
Okay. There's definitely some good ones there. I do, pro number two, the darkness in the movie. The movie shows some balls, and it doesn't hold back in a lot of scenes. Like, people get horrendously eaten. There's that scene on the train where Gauss eats like that thing full of children. They fucking murder the dog. I mean,
bastards.
Some guys, some guy gets shit out. I mean, that's pretty cool. There's definitely some production value, which is one thing I do appreciate. Like, you actually feel like the Gausses attacks certain locations, versus something like a Heisei Godzilla film. Like, they actually go to locations, they mess stuff up here, and you see the after effects. When you see that guy who's been shit out, you see the home destroyed. There's some production value there. They're trying to emphasize the scale. I like the mystical qualities to this movie. There's a bit of what's the word for mystical.
Fantastical.
The connection between Gamera and Asagi. The way they tie it in, because Gamera's thing, he's got a connection to kids. They found a good way to work it in, where she's kind of tied into him. That's better than just Gamera, 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 Gamera,
enough.
Gamera, 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 Gamera. So like that. The kaiju battles are pretty good. Gamera.
Huh?
Sorry, my mic got cut out for a second.
Oh, go ahead.
Where was I at?
Monster fights.
Yeah, the monster fights are pretty good. Definitely some good action sequences there. I do think like the final battle between Gamera and Gauss is pretty well done for like a Heisei film. I do like too is like one of the things that I think it was a criticism we had in the Heisei Godzilla films is the kaiju never flap their wings very well.
Well, that's not the case here.
No, right here they go out of their way to do things. Like they're trying really hard to like work on scaling and like show the emphasis on the size of the kaiju, trying to blend them into the world, make it all seem kind of seamless for like the amount of money that they had. I thought that was pretty well done, and I think did I go through all the cons or pros? Production value, kaiju battles, Gamera himself is a great update. They don't shy away from the fact that he's a flying turtle. There's like I said, the mystical qualities to it. I think that's all the pros. Some good action, some good directing, and there's some funny moments here and there too. Some annoying moments, but we'll get to those in the cons. But overall, I think that's good on my pros.
Well, let's get to my pros of Gamera Guardian of the Universe. First up, pro number one is that the story here, like I said earlier, is great. The story is very well done. It has a lot more of a mystical, fantastic feel to it, which I actually do kind of wish was in the Heisei Godzilla series. Even it kind of touches upon that sort of with Godzilla vs. Biollante. I know you don't like that movie, but I do, and that's all that matters. And
keep talking. Go ahead.
I wish that the Heisei series did. I mean, it's if they had done more of a balance between the realistic scientific aspects and the more mystical, fantastic stuff. I mean, Mechagodzilla 2 kind of does that, but the mystical stuff are pretty small. I think the Heisei series would have been overall a lot better. But I like the fantastic elements here. And overall, the story is very, very well done. This is how you do a reboot and do it well. Pro number two is that I love the tone of this movie. It's the perfect balance in my eyes of not necessarily campy, but kind of. No, actually, no. This movie isn't campy at all. It's a balance between dark and serious, because there's a difference between dark and serious in my eyes. A serious tone can just mean, well, it's just there's not much, if any, humor involved, and it takes itself relatively seriously. Then there's of course dark, where the movie is dark and gritty, and it just has this violent tone to it. This movie has a mix of both. It's not uber violent, because one thing I do like about this series is that the dark tone just gets darker and darker, though actually to a fault, because that's one big issue I have with Gamera 3. But
Gamera 2, by God, there's a scene where we'll get to that soon. I just watched it, like dude, like on a train, like just like whole splatters of blood all over the train. I'm like, Jesus, he's like popping his zit.
that zit being his head.
Yeah. Ohio Mega Picture. Yeah, Nick, you're going through the Gamera series awfully quick. The Godzilla one took a long time. The Gamera one, you're just flying right through.
Yep. So anyway, yeah, I like the tone of this movie. I think it reaches its peak in the next film. So yeah. Pro number 3 is the music score to this movie. The music score for this film was done by a man named Kao Otane.
Now, that's another pro. The musical score is pretty good.
Kao Otane, of course, did the score for GMK, which that's one few good things I have to say about GMK. And he also did the entire Gamera Heisei trilogy, and he also did the scores for the Shadow of the Colossus. Great score. The dude the dude's kind of like in almost a modern day Akira Ifukube. I say almost because nobody will ever top Akira Ifukube.
No, like in terms of Japanese composers, I'd argue like best composer of all time is John Williams for film. Like
it's pretty debatable.
More iconic things. Like Akira Ifukube for Japan for sure, but like at least in the United States, it's John Williams.
Potentially, and I think Jerry Goldsmith is up there with John Williams as well. Same with James Newton Howard.
James Newton Howard's pretty good. Commando.
Anyway,
Danny Elfman.
So
Danny Elfman's got like 3 themes.
So yeah, the music for this movie is really, really, really good. It definitely fits it fits the tone. It has this fantastic operatic, atmospheric, and just badass tone to it. It's really good. Kawatane, you did a very good job for this film. Pro number 4 is Gamera himself. Gamera is a complete and total badass in this movie. And that is how I like my monsters. No nonsense. Fucks anything up that gets in their way. Though still having a bit of a softer side, but they are no nonsense badasses that do not pull their punches. And they're here to fuck up the bad guy and nothing else. And they'll fuck him up in the most brutal way possible. So yeah, absolutely. I love Go ahead.
I said absolutely. Like Gamera is at his best in this trilogy.
Pro number 5 is that I like the monster designs in this movie are decent. Gauss looks okay, I guess. I mean, I'll talk more about Gauss when I get to the cons. But Gauss looks okay. Gamera's design. This is not my favorite Gamera design. A lot of people like to shit on it. And unlike Bill, who absolutely loves this design, I'm just kind of indifferent about it. I do like the big, expressive eyes. It makes this suit look a lot more personable, and it makes Gamera himself in this movie look a lot more personable.
I still say Gamera 3 is the best looking Gamera.
I say it's 2, but actually Gamera 3 is one of my least favorite Gamera designs.
Of course.
Yep, exactly.
You can never just see, that's what I'm going to go with from now on. If a lot of people like it, Nick hates it. If a lot of people hate it, Nick likes it.
Yeah, you didn't know that already?
Yeah, I mean, I figured that out a while ago. So, one of my favorite movies, Nick hates them. Movies that he loves, I hate. So, I was I don't know.
We haven't tested that theory yet.
Which theory?
The theory of movies that I like, you hate.
Well, you like the 2003 Hulk, and I fucking hate that movie.
We've only minorly tested it. So anyway, moving on.
Okay.
So yeah, Gamera's design, it's good. It's very well done. And it's a great update on the Showa designs. I think this may seem really minor, but I think a big issue that I have with the Gamera design is that his tusks really stick out. And I know that's kind of the point, but they stick out. They're too white. I feel like his tusks are too white, and they stick out like a sore thumb in contrast to the rest of his body. Like they should have been a darker yellowish color. That would have been more acceptable. I mean, that's what they do in the next movie and the next movie. And the next movie after that.
The next day.
I don't really, and they come off as being too straight and too skinny. I like them when they're more curved and they're a little thicker at the base, and they gradually get slimmer. But with this design, it just looks like they're skinny at the base and they remain skinny until the very top. So yeah, I'm not big on Gamera's tusks, but overall I do like this design. It's just not one of my favorites. Pro number 6 is that the monster battles in this movie are overall fairly entertaining. They're pretty fun. They're not some of the best monster fights I've ever seen in my life. I will wholeheartedly admit that. I've seen way better. But but I still do like the monster fights. They are entertaining and they do serve a purpose. Though, of course, the best of all of them being the final fight between Gamera and Gauss, despite a couple hiccups. Not hiccups, a few.
What's your favorite kaiju in the Gamera series, Gauss?
No. Barugan.
Your favorite?
Actually, Barugan was originally supposed to be in this movie, but they opted for Gauss.
Yeah, you got to go with the classic ones. So, yeah, your favorite Gauss?
No.
So, your favorite Gauss?
No.
So, your favorite Gauss?
No.
So, you're not unfavorite Gauss?
I don't like Gauss. Fuck Gauss.
So, you love Gauss?
I don't. Fuck you. Shut up. Gauss. I'm moving on. So, yeah, the monster battles still, they're fun. They're entertaining. I've just seen better.
Favorite monster Gauss?
I'm going to smack you.
Go ahead. Smack me.
And pro number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 is that the special effects, for the most part, are very, very, very good. Do I think they're better than Heisei Godzilla effects? No.
Some are.
No.
Some are.
I think they're as good, equally as good as the best Heisei effects.
Oh, as the best? Like, I'm just saying some effects are better than some in the Heisei.
Sorry, I got a sneeze coming.
Are you going to sneeze?
Yeah. Then I lost it.
You said some the effects are on par, is what you were saying.
They're equally as good as the best of the Heisei effects. The miniature sets.
Omega.
Say what?
You know what we need to do? Omega is like King Ghidorah is his favorite monster. We need to move with King Ghidorah and Gauss, and then it's just going to be called Nick Jackson's favorite monsters.
Fuck
King
you.
Versus Gauss, the movie.
Ghidorah would win that fight. But anyway, so
Ghidorah would wipe the floor with Gauss.
The miniature sets are very well constructed. They're very well detailed. They're great in scale to the other monsters. They're decorated well. The sets made for for Mount Fuji, that looks really good. The ocean sets look good.
I think some of the best shots are like when they're in the arena. And
the baseball stadium looks really, really good. When Gamera's destroying that thing, it looks so awesome. The oil refinery also looks really good when Gamera first shows up and kills the first Gauss. The oil refinery looks awesome.
Like that's a great way to show scale. I feel like you really feel the scale and like that scene. I think that's one of the things that this director does best. Like in GMK, like he did a really good job showcasing the scale and blending with, the model, like the miniatures with the like real life locations. Like I feel like he did that better than most like tokusatsu directors from like the 90s and like, the 2000s in terms of Godzilla and Gamera movies. Like I felt like he's really good at blending scale with the miniatures.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like the real. So like that's one skill set he has for sure.
Yep. The CG used for the beam effects for Gauss and Gamera look good. Oh, actually, wait. One more thing I want to say about Gamera. Another thing that I don't particularly care for about Gamera is I don't like his fireballs. I wish that Gamera had kept his fire breath. I would have been fine if Gamera's fireballs were like either like a secondary attack that he can do, or they're a more powerful finishing technique other than his fire breath. But I really wish, if they couldn't do his fire breath, I kind of wish they did like a plasma fire beam, which is kind of like an explosive, like a stream of napalm that he streams from his mouth. But just having him only be able to shoot fireballs, I just think that's a little lame. And that's one aspect I really don't like about Heisei Gamera is all he has is fireballs.
Yeah, it's like in the Godzilla Save the Earth game where you just double tap like the L1 button and then it's like a fireball. It's like I want the atomic breath, not this dumb fireball technique. Yeah. It doesn't even like do any more damage than the normal atomic breath. In fact, it does less. So what's the point? It takes up more of your.
It takes up more of your beam, your beam health too, or your energy. source,
What about his
whatever the fuck
elbow
it's called.
blades? Which one has the elbow blades? I read the comment by Omega.
This
Omega
one has the elbow blades. And that's another one I don't particularly care for, is that Gamera has retractable elbow blades. Or not really blades, they're spikes, but I just think, really? Why? He only uses them in one scene. So I just think, what's the point of having them if he's only going to use them once? And this is why I like the Gamera 2 design, where he makes the elbow spikes a permanent attachment so that they're always there. I prefer that. Because when he makes them retractable, it just makes them look kind of stupid. But anyway, so back to special effects. The suits are very, very well constructed. They're completely seamless. Don't see any zippers. I don't see, like from the first Gamera movie. Whereas there, it was obvious that Gamera's arms were like segmented. Here, there's none of that. There's no folds in the rubber. There's no creases in the spandex. The suits are very, very well constructed. And overall, the special effects, for the most part, are very, very solid. Though again, do I think they're as good as Heisei, or they're better than Heisei effects? Not at all. As good, yes. So with that being said, let's get into the cons of Guardian of the Universe. I actually want to go first for this one because I do have quite a bit to say.
Okay, and then I might have some things that you picked up that I have too. So go ahead, sir.
How many cons do you have, real quick?
I think I got like 4.
I got 5.
One's off the top of my head. 4 or 5, something like that.
Con number 1.
What has to do with the Blu-ray?
Con number 1. Oh my God, do the green screen and composite shots look horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
really
in the
bad
final fight between Gamera and Gauss, because they use a lot of composite shots, and they look terrible. They look like composite shots that were done in the 80s. And this movie was made in 1995. Like early
70s too.
Early 80s to late 70s composite shots. That's what they look like. And they look terrible. And also, the CG effects are outside of Gamera's fireballs and Gauss's sonic laser. The CG looks awful, especially when they use it for the missiles.
It's like MMPR, the movie, like the very first My Morphin Power Rangers movie, bad in terms of CGI. Yeah. Like, I love that movie. Like,
I don't.
It's fun.
Well, I like the first half.
I like it. I mean, I'm a big Power Rangers fan. Like, I've met Jason David Frank and Austin St. John, and, like, I met
You met Jason David Frank?
I met a bunch. Yes, I have. I have a picture of us together. I tower over him. I actually met Austin St. John, like, last month. And
you tower over Jason David Frank?
Yeah.
How tall are you?
Frank's not that tall. 6'3".
Oh, how tall is he? 6 foot?
I think he's less. He's like 5'11". Austin St. John was even shorter. Like I was like, like I was standing up. There's a picture of us together, and I'm just like, he stood up, and I'm like, it's next to me. I'm like, hello, hello down there. It was I can't look at Jason the same way now because I'm like. Because I always, like, looked up to Jason when I was younger. I mean, not Jason David Frank. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess.
They can still whoop your ass.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, Jason David Frank, like, that dude has, like, 4 or 5 black belts. Like, that man's a machine. He's a cool dude, too. Same with Austin St. John. Cool guy. But, like, they're both short. Like, I didn't realize how much taller I was than them. So, just saying. But yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, the MMPR movie, we're kind of going off on that. But, like, I do love that movie. It's cheesy. It's very hokey. But, I mean, I love Power Rangers, and I liked it more than the new Power Rangers movie.
I love the new Power Rangers movie.
I love some of it, but, like, upon rewatching, it definitely does drag. Well, we'll save that for another day.
Yeah. So, anyway, moving on. The CG effects in this movie just look terrible. Actually, that's... The green screen and composite effects and the horrible CG are 2 cons. That's 2 right there. But they just look terrible. Thankfully, they don't use the CG that much. Like, they only really use it for the missiles and the beam effects. The missiles look
that's
terrible.
as good as it could really get, like, for the time.
They still look horrible. Con number 3 is Gauss. I just don't like Gauss in this movie. The only aspect about Gauss that I do like is that they make Gauss a species, which I really do like that concept. And that's actually a concept that I use in my own kaiju verse, which combines both Godzilla and Gamera. The Gauss are used as like the super mass-produced cannon fodder. Like on their own,
the foot soldiers.
Yeah, on their own, the Gauss are like if you take on one Gauss, you can kill it relatively easily. But if you take on a whole flock of Gauss, they're pretty hard to deal with. So I do like that concept.
Yeah, that's a good way to like look at Gauss. That's kind of how I've looked at Gauss. Because Gauss was not like the most powerful like Gamera monster. Like Gauss to me was always just like Gamera is like arguably like his main foe, his main adversary in that he faces them the most. But like you said, it's like a swarm of Gauss, like a species of them. Like
they're the grunts.
Yeah, it's like if you took like the Potty Patrol and took one of them and just made him as the main villain.
So yeah, outside of that, I just don't like Gauss. He has no. Well, it makes sense that he has no personality because he's essentially just an animal in this film. But I just don't like Gauss. I never liked Gauss. He has
personality, but he is lacking.
I wish they went with Berrigan originally. Because that's what they were originally planning to do. They were going to use Berrigan, but they decided to use Gauss instead for some reason. And I'm really disappointed because I love Berrigan. He's my second favorite Gamera monster. So yeah, I just don't like Gauss. I think he's boring in this movie. I don't like his design very much. I mean, it's a good update, and it's a very good modern retake of a classic design. And the suit itself is very well constructed, but I just don't like Gauss. Con number 4, I think this movie is too short. It's 95 minutes long. I feel like for the start of a big trilogy, I feel like this movie should have been at least 2 hours, in my opinion. I would have really preferred if this movie was 2 hours long instead of 95.
I think it works for me because, like, I'll explain in a second.
One that I have with this movie is that I find the human cast to be overall bland and boring.
That goes into my point, but about why I think the length is fine.
I just don't like the human. I mean, they're not badly acted. I will give them that. They're not badly acted. Their dialogue is fine. The only human character that I can actually kind of say I like is Nagamine, the ornithologist, because I consider her to be the main character of this film, not Asagi, as most people would say. Even though Asagi is the one to have the spiritual connection to the title monster of the film, I don't care for Asagi. I don't care for her dad, even though it's fairly obvious that she has a good relationship with her father, which is nice. I don't care for Asagi. Don't care for her dad. I really do not like the cop character. I can't remember his name.
She doesn't want to. The English fellow kind of talks like this.
Inspector Osako. I cannot stand Inspector Osako. All he does is whine and bitch and moan when he's around monsters.
Who do you like more, Inspector Osako or Mr. Taco?
No more. I am sick of Mr. Taco. Fuck you.
So which one would you rather sit through? I feel like Mr. Taco at least has that memorable bit, but the other guy just is just like
neither. Both suck. I'm not choosing. That's my decision. Neither. Both suck.
Pussy.
Fuck you. I am what I eat.
So you eat fuck? You eat a bowl of fuck like in Night of the Demons?
I've actually never seen those movies.
I
Um,
saw like the first one, or like parts of it. So
so anyway, yeah,
of the demon.
I don't like aside from Miss Nagamine, I
Which
tolerate
one
her.
were actually choked?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really like the human cast. I find them to be very boring, very one note. They're just there to fill up the human cast, and that's it. So yeah, don't really care for the human cast. So what are your cons?
Okay, like these are ones that kind of have to do with like the Blu-ray. There's issues with the subtitles on this Blu-ray
Yes.
set because they don't like they don't translate to English at all. It's just Japanese characters, and that kind of frustrates me because I have the subtitle option on so I can understand what's going on, but there's no way for me to know. I don't know if it's on the DVD as well, but it's on the Blu-ray, and it's definitely very frustrating. The English dub, in some ways, like there's the really annoying
It's
guy.
laughably bad.
Like, it's laughably bad. So
Especially with
there.
Gamera 2. Oh my god, the redneck dub for Gamera 2 is hysterical.
The next con I'd say is the special effects. Well, I did praise a lot of the special effects. Like you were saying, you went into a good tangent on them about how terrible some of these composite shots and some of the CGI looks in this movie. Like some of the composite shots where they're flying around the city, I'm like, oh come on! Like just you might as well just do practical. Like some I appreciate, but other ones like where she's in the helicopter and it looks like they're just like standing up against a projector. I could have really 1970s or like late early 80s or something, but like you're in the mid 90s, you could have done a little bit better job. Granted, they must have not had there's a good production value in the movie, which made like they could have done a little bit better with these composite shots. And then, like you said, you were saying the movie should have been longer. There's a reason I don't think it should have been longer, and that's because of the human cast. Really, none of them stand out. Like none of them are terrible, like you said.
No, not at all.
None of them are really memorable. So they kind of do drag the movie down a bit for me, which is why the length it is. Because if I had to spend any more time with them, I probably would have grown to dislike a lot of them more.
Well, I think
they would have made up for it.
Well, what would have made the movie better is if it was longer, more monster action.
Okay, I can see that. But like I said, like
because there's never enough monster action in a monster movie, of course.
Never.
Except for Gorgo.
Or as General Zod would say, never.
Except for Gorgo. Don't like Gorgo.
I think I just bought Gorgo.
So moving on, your cons.
Yeah, so like I said, special effects, human characters, the subtitle issue I had, the human cast is, just so-so. I'm trying to think of any more I have off the top of my head. Really no other major cons after that. It's just a few like technical issues. That's like kind of my main things, and the human characters aren't all that interesting. Saki has an interesting connection with Gamera, but when I go to watch this movie and I try to watch 2, I forget which one is Asagi. So that goes to tell you that like that's how much they stood out to me. Like if I watch like some movies, like okay, I remember you from this one, or I remember you from the next movie. Like if I watch the Heisei films, like I know you don't like Miki Saigi, so at least know who she is between films. Like Asagi, I like I said, I'm just like, which one were you again? Or like that's just kind of how I felt. Maybe she'll improve in like the second one on my rewatching, but
she doesn't. That's actually one of my. Actually, no, it's not. Never mind. Yeah, I'll discuss that when I get to 2. But anyway, so overall thoughts on Gamera Guardian of the Universe. Like I said at the beginning, it's no longer one of my least favorite kaiju movies, and I do like the movie and appreciate the movie a lot more than I used to. However, I still do think it is highly overrated. I still do think it's not one of my favorite kaiju movies. It's not one of my favorite Gamera movies. Though objectively, I will say it is a very good film. It's an excellent reboot and is an excellent monster movie. If you want to just sit down and watch an entertaining monster movie and introduce, if this is the best introduction to Gamera. I mean, I love the original Gamera, don't get me wrong, but if you just want to look for the best movie to introduce somebody to Gamera, this movie is it. And so, rating this movie, I actually am rating it once again on 2 different scales. Objectively, I give this a 9 out of 10. I will not give it a perfect 10. Objectively, its only real big problem is the horrendous composite shots and the horrendous CGI. That is literally the only thing that's keeping this movie from getting a perfect 10. The composite shots are just so fucking terrible. And personally, I give this a 7.5 out of 10. I do enjoy it more than I used to, but it's still not one of my favorites, and I don't enjoy it nearly as much as other people do.
Good, good, good.
So how about you?
I'm going to say 7 out of 10 for me. I definitely like the movie. I'm not in love with it or anything like that. But as a kaiju film, as a Gamera film to this thing, it definitely is a good start. It's the Batman Begins of this trilogy. So Batman Begins does a good job tapping into like the origin of Batman, you know, establishing who he is, and like so, and not everything is like Dark Knight level per se, but it's a great origin story.
Dark Knight's garbage.
It's a good starting point. What?
Dark Knight's garbage.
Well, I mean, there's always one who says that, which is you. Typical. I mean, a movie that's widely regarded as the greatest comic book film of all time. I don't think it's my favorite is still Batman '89, but like, you know, Dark Knight is the most universally praised comic book film ever made, which automatically tells me Nick's not going to like it.
I give it a negative 10 out of 10.
Oh, it only has great action sequences. It only has one of the best villains in, you know, Heath Ledger's Joker or Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face. It's all part of the plan, Nick. Whatever. What was I saying? Yeah, 7 out of 10. This movie, that's really all I can give it. I don't know. Like I said, there's some technical things that it has wrong with it. The human characters don't, like, they kind of drag the movie down for me. I think even the story is fine. It's like I said, the story works. It moves. The pacing works just fine. Like I said, it's just good. You know, 7 out of 10 is a good rating for me. It's nothing great. There's some things they could have improved on, like the human elements and some of the monster action composite effects and technical things. But other than that, it's definitely a solid kaiju film. And it's a good start to this trilogy.
So, with that being said, post your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Share this video with your friends. Check out Sean's channel. I'm sure he's got some interesting videos on the way, including him doing a praising of Godzilla's Revenge video, which I will have to at least do a reaction to.
Yeah, that one's good. That's going to take a while for me to get that one done. But, like, I have what it's like, I have what I want to say in my head, but it's just tough writing that down and putting it, like, translating it to, like, a script format. So it's like when I watch it, like, yeah, I got this idea. Like, I know what I want to say, but it's just a matter of translating that into a script. But I'm very much looking forward to that. And I also have, like, a crossover review that's supposed to come out, like, next week. So I got to send my audio recording for that. And I just watched The Predator tonight. So definitely check that out.
But yeah. Look forward to the next review where I review my favorite Gamera movie of all time, when I review 1996's Gamera 2, Advent of Legion. And as always, go out and form a spiritual bond with a giant non-pizza eating fun turtle. And I will see you guys in the next video. With Sean, of course.
Yes.